If you fell into a star, you would die pretty quickly. There's really no way around that. Most stars are big balls of hot gas held together by gravity, and if you fell in, you wouldn't just be met with a fiery death, but a stretching one as well. You'd get torn to pieces by tidal forces, but it turns out there is a star where you might survive falling into it. It is called Barnard's star, and today we're going to find out what would happen if you fell into it. Barnard's star is a red dwarf located 6 light-years away from us, and it has a mass about half that of our Sun, but its radius is only about half as big as Earth's. So, how could anyone fall into such a small star? Well, in 2017, researchers predicted that Barnard's star was surrounded by a thick disk of dust and gas about twice the size of our solar system. This material is left over from the formation of the star, and it is constantly falling towards its surface due to gravitational forces. So there is plenty of matter around this star that could potentially crush you before you ever reach the surface. But let's say some miracle happens and you get through all of that. What would actually happen if you were to touch down on Barnard's star? Well, first off, you would have to deal with the heat. Barnard's star is extremely hot with a surface temperature of around 3,900 Kelvin. That's about 5 times hotter than the Sun. So, immediately upon touching down, your body would be vaporized by the intense heat. But even if you could somehow survive those high temperatures, you wouldn't survive for long because Barnard's star is so dense. Its gravity is about 18 times stronger than Earth's gravity. On top of that, the star is slowly rotating, which means you'd also experience centrifugal forces. Together, these forces would cause you to be stretched and distorted in all sorts of ways, like when you pull on one corner of a piece of paper and it becomes a triangle. Eventually, these forces would tear your body apart and you would cease to exist. But this isn't the worst part yet. Stars are giant nuclear reactors, and they produce their energy by fusing hydrogen into helium. And when you get close enough to a star, you can actually steal some of that energy. We're talking about something called gravitational or accretion-powered radiation here. When you get close enough to a star, the gravitational potential energy you lose is converted into radiation, which gives you an incredible amount of energy. In fact, scientists believe that many black holes actually gain mass by stealing energy from nearby stars in this very way. The reason why this doesn't happen more often is because most stars don't come anywhere close to each other. The closest star to us is Alpha Centauri, which is 4 light-years away. But Barnard's star is different because it's only 6 light-years away. And even though it's far enough not to be gravitationally affected by our Sun, it does pass through our planetary system every couple 100,000 years or so, and things get weird. For example, a few decades ago, astronomers noticed that Barnard's star had suddenly brightened. And at first they thought it was just a random fluctuation. But then they checked back a few years later and realized the star had gotten even brighter. Now, astronomers weren't completely baffled by this observation. Stars do occasionally have massive outbursts of energy known as flares. But what was strange about Barnard's star was that it continued getting brighter over time. By the time astronomers realized that Barnard's star was still getting brighter, it had now been 14 years since the flare occurred. They knew that, whatever had happened, it wasn't a normal stellar flare. They considered the possibility that an asteroid or comet had crashed into the star, but they ruled that out because if that had happened, they would have seen a huge spike in brightness followed by a return to normal. Instead, they saw a gradual increase in brightness over time. Eventually, astronomers came up with an explanation for what happened. A large chunk of debris from Barnard's star got ripped away by the gravitational forces of passing objects and was sent hurtling through space. It was essentially a giant chunk of the star that was orbiting around it. And as it flew through space, it rained down small pebbles of rock and dust onto our Sun. These pebbles of debris didn't cause any damage to our Sun, but they did cause quite a stir in the Earth's atmosphere. And in some ways, they gave us a preview of what would happen if someone fell into Barnard's star. You see, when the debris from Barnard's star hit our atmosphere, it caused an incredible amount of light to be reflected upwards, giving us a beautiful view of a comet that was passing through our planetary system. Astronomers realized that they had witnessed a once-in-a-lifetime event. It was the first time they'd ever seen a comet pass between the Earth and the Sun. The comet itself was named C-2138 Siding Spring, and it passed within just 220,000 kilometers of our planet. As it did, it left behind gas and dust that lit up the night sky like fireworks. People all over the world took notice, and many amateur astronomers set up telescopes to watch the spectacle. Some even captured images of the comet that revealed never-before-seen details of its structure. The most amazing part was that this all happened right after the partial solar eclipse in October 2014, and if that hadn't happened, we may have missed the comet altogether. It turned out that this was no ordinary comet. It was coming from the outer reaches of our solar system, and it was carrying with it material that was almost certainly from the formation of the planets themselves. By studying the composition of the comet, scientists were able to learn more about what our solar system was like billions of years ago. It is safe to say that C-2013A1 Siding Spring was one of the most remarkable comets to pass Earth in modern history, and it was a stark reminder of the power of nature. But it also gave us a small glimpse of what it might be like to fall into Barnard's star. While the comet was passing Earth, it lit up our night sky with beautiful colors. And that's exactly what would happen if someone were to fall into Barnard's star. As you descended into the star, you would be met with a bright flash of light as the hydrogen and helium burned away. Then you would see a beautiful display of colors as the star's atmosphere gave way to its core. But unfortunately, that view would be short-lived because eventually you would be met with the crushing gravity of the star's core. The good news is that you wouldn't feel anything after that because your body would be completely destroyed. But if you were somehow still alive, you wouldn't be for long. Eventually, you would reach the center of the star where the temperatures and pressures are so extreme that not even atoms can survive. At this point, you would cease to exist. So, while falling into Barnard's star would be an incredible experience, it's definitely one that no human could survive. But there is no need to worry because it is highly unlikely that anyone will ever fall into this star. Even if Barnard's star were to suddenly start hurtling towards us, it would take millions of years to get here. And during that time, we would have plenty of warning. Plus, it's highly unlikely that a star could even move that fast in the first place. The reason why is because stars are giant balls of gas and they don't interact with each other very often. If the stars were to collide, it would be a relatively rare event. And even if it did happen, it would take millions or even billions of years for them to merge. In the meantime, we can continue to marvel at the beauty of Barnard's star and the amazing views it provides us. With powerful telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope, we can learn more about this unique star and the possible worlds that could orbit it. Who knows, maybe one day we'll even discover signs of life on one of its planets. I hope you enjoyed learning all about Barnard's star. If you did, please leave a comment below and subscribe for more videos about space. And I want to thank you for watching and supporting my channel. I'm the host of this channel. I'm going to keep bringing you videos about space and physics. So make sure to follow for more updates. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.